that Chelsea just made that dreadful decision today. It was quite funny somehow because normally Chelsea normally run things in the end of the season. So that's why I was like kind of shocked that Chelsea just part ways with Enzo Maresca. Well, let's be sincere. These have been it has been boiling for a long time now because Enzo Maresca vision is clearly different from the owners and sporting directors' vision. And again, due to the report that came out today, they stated that due to that comment he made, that he has one of the worst 48 hours. I think that was quite what led to the sacking. Because when I was like yesterday, I was just seeing the news that Enzo Maresca might leave Chelsea. It's a matter of days, not even till the end of the season. I was quite shocked. That means the situation was kind of serious. For this thing to happen like that means this situation it didn't start presently. It has I think it have been months now that this thing have been boiling because normally the owners normally access managers by the end of the season. But due to the fact that they just decide to sack him immediately, it's quite shocking. Yes, normally that's what normally people say that the owner are destroying the clubs. You are correct, but whether we complain or not, the owners won't sell the club. It is their property, so they can do whatever they want to do in the club. They can do whatever they want to do with the club. But let's be sincere, this is a 50-50 situation. The next person that they want to bring might even be worse than Maresca. So there's no guarantee that the next person will improve because this is the Premier League. And besides, we are in the second half of the Premier League, which is the toughest phase. And to make everything worse, our first match this January is going to be Manchester City that are in form. Not even that, to still make everything worse, Caicedo is not going to be available against Man City. So everything just feel kind of strange today. Normally, Maresca have done some unquestionable things in recent games, in the sense that playing players out of possession, benching Esteval for multiple match, and a lot of rotations. But I don't think it have gotten to this extent of like sacking him by this period. Normally, Enzo Maresca have the audacity to demand for what he wants in the club. But the reason why it won't surprise me that the owners refuse because this have been their vision for the past 3 seasons. Ever they took charge of Chelsea, these have been their main goals to bring in young talent across Europe. So what Maresca is demanding is too much for the owners to like break their rules. That's why we don't go for players like Victor Osimhen or all these star players or players that are above 25 years old because that is what the owners want. They want to bring in young players. Now, Maresca is already a world-class coach, whether you like it or not. He have proved that multiple times. Against when his first season at Chelsea, he won 2 trophies. That alone will make him a top manager, a top candidate for big clubs. So that's why I said this Chelsea situation right now is 50-50. The next person that we might bring, it might even be worse than Maresca. I know that some Chelsea fans are saying that anytime Chelsea sack a coach that will end up winning the Champions League, that is before. That is not now. That is not now. I wonder how we are going to even go up against Man City on Sunday because that's just what I've been thinking. ever since the Bournemouth game, ever since Moses Caicedo collect that yellow card. Now, due to the report that just came out today, there have been some rumor. I don't know if it's true, but there have been some rumor that Maresca have been giving some thoughts of moving out of Chelsea. Because if you are following Chelsea news constantly, there was a time when Maresca changed his agent. He wasn't planning to leave that time, but that was just a contingency plan in case if things don't go the way he wants. And due to what the owners said today, they said that Maresca have been indirectly pushing for a move away from Chelsea. And we can clearly see that on the pitch. And again, early this season, Maresca was demanding for an already made centre back, and the owners refuse. I know a lot of Chelsea fans will pin that is one of the reasons why Maresca is not getting support. But the truth just came out today that the reason why Chelsea didn't go for a centre back, the reason why Chelsea didn't go for a centre back is because of Josh Achampong. Because Chelsea valued that boy so much. If you could remember last season, Bayern Munich was heavily interested in Josh Achampong, but Chelsea didn't want to sell the boy. They believe that they just look the boy as a Rich James type of player. That's why Chelsea didn't go for a centre back, because they believe that if Chelsea go for another centre back now, then Josh Archipong might be pushing for a move, just as the way Terry George is pushing for a move this January. They don't want to lose Josh Archipong. That's why they ignore Maresca so that Josh Archipong can see a space to play. But right now, Josh Archipong have been sidelined for many matches. You can see how Maresca is indirectly telling the boss that he doesn't need young talent, he needs experienced players. I think that is where the argument starts. Now you are saying that the British government destroyed this club. Yes, that was not fair because Abramovich didn't have any affairs with the Russia and Ukraine war, but we all know how the British do their stuffs. And I'm not even sure that they have even paid Abramovich the money. Let's be sincere, I'm not sure they have paid him the money. So when the club was available, the owners came and buy the club, and they will run it the way they see fit. So whether we complain from now till tomorrow, the owners will still do what they believe is best for the club. And we shouldn't like take this much serious because Chelsea are not the only one that is doing this kind of things. Like just take a look at Bayern Munich, for example. Last 3 seasons, this Germany coach, I think his name was Nagelsmann. That coach was doing very well at Bayern Munich. That time you can't face Bayern Munich and comfortably play Bayern Munich. You must go home with a loss. Bayern Munich was one of the toughest team last 3 seasons when that guy was coaching Bayern Munich. But what happened at the end? The owners were not satisfied and they sacked the guy. After they sacked the guy, they brought in Tuchel. And what did Tuchel do? Tuchel could not handle the job. Tuchel could not do well at Bayern Munich. And at the end, I think Leverkusen end up winning if I'm not mistaken, I think Leverkusen end up winning the league that period. If I'm not mistaken, Leverkusen end up winning the league that period just because of their owner's decision to sack that man at the beginning. But now they still sack Tuchel and bring in another manager, which is Company. Company is also a championship coach, and Company is doing very well at Bayern Munich. So that is how owners operate sometimes. Even at Madrid, there is still the same crisis going on. That Xabi Alonso is not producing results. Madrid was topping in La Liga in the beginning of the season with I think with just 5 to 6 points. But now Barcelona is topping Real Madrid. So there's still a lot of tension at Madrid, and they might even sack Xabi Alonso by the end of the season. Forget that. I know that Maresca did very well at Chelsea. I know that we won't see another manager like Maresca. But this is just the reality of it. This is what the owners want for Chelsea. They want to bring in young talents. We have seen the results. They brought in majority of players like Cole Palmer, Moises Caicedo, Esteban Williams, and Andre Santos. I know that majority of the players that they buy are not are inexperienced. Most of them are not even qualified to play for Chelsea, which is one of the problems that I have with the owner because they normally buy a lot of players recklessly. One of the players that the owner even buy this season that gets me annoyed was Garnacho. Let's be sincere. Personally, for me, I didn't buy the idea of Chelsea signing Garnacho because I already know how raw that guy is, and you can clearly see Garnacho's inconsistent performance in that left wing. That's the only problem. That's one of the problem I have with the sport director. They buy players recklessly, but inside that player that they buy recklessly, there are still some that is outstanding. Like for example, Andre Santos and Esteva Williams. And I think that is where the major problem because if you observe, one thing I like about these our owners is that they don't just buy talent, they value talent. Now, I'm not saying this to defend the owners. I'm not a fan of the owners. I'm not a fan of Maresca. I'm a Chelsea fan. I want Chelsea to keep on winning games and I still want results. If things is not going well, I do my research and point out the faults in it. Now, if you can remember, the owners brought Esteva Williams, I think 3 seasons ago, but they still loan him out to Palamari so that the boy can still get more confidence there. The same thing that they did with Esteva Williams, that is the same thing they did with Andre Santos. But currently now, Maresca is not giving those boys the confidence he needs. And if you check the latest Chelsea news right now that is going on, you can see that Chelsea is looking at Liam Rosenio, which is the coach that is coaching Salzburg, which is Chelsea's sister club. They are rating that guy highly. Then I do some research about why is Chelsea rating this coach. I came to know that that coach have worked with Liam Delap before in I think in Hull City in the championship, and that coach normally works with young players a lot. He normally works with young players a lot, but if Chelsea are thinking of bringing that guy to the Premier League now, that is a high risk decision because that guy might not get the job done. Normally, the guy football and Maresca football is similar, but the difference is that Maresca value experienced players, while the guy brings out the best in young talents. The, if you can remember, Andre Santos played in Salzburg for 2 seasons, and in Salzburg, Andre Santos was one of the best player. I think Andre Santos won the best midfielder in League One. But this is Chelsea. Chelsea is different. Chelsea, Chelsea is a club that, if you are not capable of handling the pressure, it can affect you mentally as a manager. So that is why I still think that sacking Maresca now is a big risk. I know that Maresca, there are some questionable decisions that Maresca have been doing ever since then. For example, like sacrificing Esteval for Neto, starting Tosi ahead of Josh Ashipong in multiple matches, converting Gusto and the rest in different positions. But they could have come with a single agreement that Maresca should just stay. Maresca should just stay for the end of the season. But due to the amount of rumors that I'm hearing, because not everything I believe online, but due to what I've been hearing is that Maresca have been secretly communicating with some Man City staff because they have early this month There have been a rumor that Guardiola might leave Man City by the end of the season. So Maresca have been close with some of the staff at City to be ensured that if there will be vacancies in the club. So I think all this while Maresca was trying to push the sporting director so that they can actually get him sacked. I don't know yet, it's not confirmed, but due to what I've been hearing, that is what I've been going on since then. And you can see that Maresca didn't stay for his match pre-conference meeting after the game against Bournemouth. So all these things keep on boiling up. So guys, what do you think? Because it's not going to be funny for Chelsea this season at all. It's not going to be funny. This January alone, Chelsea have 9 matches. What do you say? Let me see. Lots of his girlfriend exposed secrets of the club, so Tuchel came in but didn't give the good result. He won the league with Bayern Munich, but a narrow win. Yeah, Tuchel won. I remember Tuchel's first season. He nearly lost the league to Borussia Dortmund. I remember he nearly lost the league to Borussia Dortmund. Then the second season, Leverkusen won the league against that was Tuchel's second season when Leverkusen won the league. Yeah, that was the same thing I'm talking about Chelsea. I'm saying that this decision that they make is a 50-50 decision. It might damage Chelsea this season and it might still help Chelsea. Why I say that it might help Chelsea is that normally we have a lot of players, and currently now one of our best players is Esteva Williams. You know that normally one of I have major problem with Maresca, but if I start saying it, you guys will think that I'm against Maresca. I'm not against Maresca, but Maresca's system sometimes is like it's normally reduce our players' freedom. And what he did, like against Bournemouth, after I finished playing Bournemouth, the fans were booing Maresca. One of the reasons why the fans was doing that, which is understandable as a Chelsea fan, yes, I know that Maresca is a good manager, but there are some questionable things that he's doing. Now, Palmer have been injured for more than 4 months. The guy came back from injury. Normally, we can't deny the fact that Palmer is a world-class player. He deserves it. But benching Kopama when you need results is kind of a questionable decision, especially against Bournemouth. December, Chelsea won 2 match, just only 2 match. We won only 2 match. And Chelsea didn't play any big team this December, but we still struggle massively. Now you are playing against Bournemouth. You already see that Esteva Williams and Kopama worked together perfectly. They showed that potential in the preseason against Leverkusen. Now you need results. Why are you benching Kopama for Joao Pedro when the lap have been poor in the match? Now I know that the owners didn't give Maresca the players he wants. Yes, fine. He didn't give you the players you want, fine. But there are some things you need to consider. Now, if you study about Maresca, you see that Maresca is a possession-based manager. That's why sometimes I don't know if I'm the only one that is experiencing this. Sometimes, if you are watching Chelsea football, it will seem boring sometimes, especially when Kopama and Esteva Williams is not available in the game. Especially when Kopama, the game will seem boring. But if Esteva and Palmer is in the game, you will see the liveliness, you will see the agility, you will see that the attack will be lively. Forget the fact that Kopama performance have not been great this season, but there are some things that Kopama will offer on the pitch that no other player can do. Yes, there are some things that Kopama will do. Now, one thing that Enzo Maresca normally say about Esteva Williams is that he wants to protect the boy from injury, from the media. that is not an excuse because player must be criticized. That is way football works. Even Vinicius Junior normally receive all this criticism. Even up till now, Vinicius is still criticized. Even Yami Lama is still criticized. So I don't see why Esteva Williams should be different. Let the boy make a lot of mistakes on the pitch. That is when he will learn. That's when the experience comes in. Okay, Fortune K, you say that let Chelsea sign Fabregas as a coach because if we sign Salzburg coach, it is a risk because Premier League comes with pressure. Yes, that is what I said. But Fabregas is no different from Leon Rosenior because if you take a look at it, you can't compare Serie A. You can't compare Serie A to Premier League. It is still the same scenario. Fabregas is not like Fabregas now. I want to say about Fabregas. He made a statement that if he is winning, if Fabregas is winning, for example, like he's winning like 1-0 or 2-0 upward, Fabregas stated that for him to go and defend the goal, he will still keep on attacking. You see, one thing that makes Premier League a very tough league is that your opponent, especially the small team, they always study big team weakness. They always study big team weakness. That is why Premier League. It's not because of the big team that made Premier League a competitive league. It's because of those small teams that always cause much trouble to big teams. Fabregas might still struggle in Chelsea. He might still struggle. So that's why I said is even if it's Fabregas or Zidane or anybody or even Xavi, it is still a 50-50 chance. It's still a 50 because the pressure that is in Chelsea now, especially Chelsea, is too much. The pressure that is in Chelsea now is too much. Talkers of the Premier League. Now, I believe that we Chelsea fans can agree that majority of the ref this season have been against Chelsea. Let's not lie about that one. That Caicedo yellow card against Bournemouth was not necessary. It was not necessary at all. Even against Aston Villa, they could have awarded us a penalty, but they just brush it out. Ref have been aggressive for Chelsea this season in multiple matches. Let's not lie about that one. So bringing Fabregas, I don't think it will be different from the Salzburg coach situation. Normally, the owners have been admiring that guy, but rushing the guy now is risky. I'm looking at it as a second Graham Potter situation. That's just how I see the whole issue right now. That's how I see the issue right now. Now, talking about now, one thing that concerned me the most about this Chelsea situation of it is that our inconsistency have been too much. It needs to be studied because if you take a look at it, most of the players that we normally sign, most of the players that we normally sign, before they come to Chelsea, they have been doing very well. They have been doing very well. I won't lie. I know that one of the most hated player right now is Delap. I know that name normally pains a lot of Chelsea fans once they hear it. In fact, once Delap is on the pitch, a lot of Chelsea fans' pressure will just be high that guy should just be out of the ball immediately. Now, Delap, for example, that guy scored 12 goals for Ipswich. That's why I say that even if a lot of people are saying that Nicola Jackson should come back, that Nicola Jackson is the solution to Chelsea attack. If Nicola Jackson come back, things might not even change. When player like Kopama cannot even produce results, why do you think that it will change when Jackson come back? Even some people made a statement that Levi Kowe is the solution. My brother, if Levi Kowe still come back, things might not even change. Because I remember last season, at the early of last season, Levi Kowe was fully fit. He was our main man in our centre back position. But Chelsea were still conceding a lot of goals. We're still struggling defensively till we caught Chaluba back. That is when our defense was quite stable a little. So one thing I want to still talk about is Enzo Maresca's style of playing. What results to some of our players' inconsistency? Because if you take a look at it, if you're a Chelsea fan and you don't understand Enzo Maresca, but that means you are just coming to watch Chelsea match just for fun. Because as a Chelsea fan, automatically you have become an analysis yourself because you must do research about how the coach plays before the club before he come to Chelsea and his current wants, which is a major problem. Now, Maresca is a possession-based manager. That is why Chelsea always gather possession. That is why once Chelsea are with the ball, they will want to pass from the goalkeeper from defense, which is build up. Chelsea don't play counter-attacking football. We don't do that, which is one of the most boring thing about Maresca's system. Now, against PSG, do you know why we win PSG? Why we win PSG is because we played counter-attacking football. Just take a look. When we start the build-up from the back and Mendy's overlap, when Maresca pair Gusto with Mendy's, Maresca knows that Gusto have the speed to surpass Mendy's. That's why when player like Rich James or even Levi Cowell hold the ball, they will just shoot the ball to Gusto. That is counter-attack. That is why we could win PSG. I wish we did the same build-up against PSG. In fact, that match would have been over first half. They would have dismantled Chelsea in that first half against that Chelsea for PSG match. PSG would have won that match in the first half. But the PSG didn't expect that Chelsea would play counter-attacking football. That is why that's why a player like Garnacho, if that guy continue that build-up, Garnacho will struggle because that guy, Garnacho is a good goal scorer. But you see that build up. That's why Garnacho is not a 1v1 player. That is why sometimes I won't blame Garnacho if that guy is performing poorly because when I watch that guy in Manchester United, that guy have zero 1v1 ability. That doesn't mean that he's a bad player. No, because if you are watching football, you need to understand that there are different type of players. There are different type of wingers. We have 1v1 wingers. We have wingers that normal their strength is through their speed. Players like Neto, Garnacho, even Noni Madueke sometimes have a little 1v1 ability, but Noni Madueke normally relies on his strength and speed. That is why Noni Madueke is good for his pull-out. But this season now, a lot of clubs study Maresca because they know that Maresca weakness is low block. Just do your research. Just do your research. Maresca have struggled with low blocks team, and small team are the one that plays low block the most. Bobby, I agree with you. You see that Maresca, who are you referring to? Is not good enough. Let's not sugarcoat it. Maresca is a good coach. He's a good coach. He have proved that he deserves it. You won't say that as a Chelsea fan, you won't praise Maresca. We must praise him because what he did for Chelsea is extraordinary. No manager can do that for Chelsea. It is rare for a manager to do that in his first season. The manager that did that last was Thomas Tuchel. So we should give him the praise. But his system is not what Chelsea needs. His system is not what Chelsea needs at the moment. That build up, I don't think is good for Chelsea. That is what I've been saying. his system is not good for Chelsea. Now, as I was saying, a lot of small teams play low block against Chelsea. Brentford, they play low block. Chelsea struggle and draw that match. Sunderland play low block. We struggle and lose that match 2-1. A lot of teams, even Bournemouth's first leg this December, played low block. We could not score a single goal. If first half, we registered 0 shot on target against Bournemouth in the first half. And one of the things that makes low block more difficult for Chelsea is our wingers. Because, like I said before, Neto is not a 1v1 player. You see, if that's why I say today, Man City are blessed with Cheki and Jeremy Duko, because no matter the low block you play, Duko and Cheki will break that low block. Because 1v1 players, they have one spirit that I love. Because no matter how the defense is tight against 1v1 players, they won't think of to pass the ball backwards. They will want to go, they want to move forward. That's why if you see Estevao with the ball, if you observe Estevao against Bournemouth, once Estevao holds the ball, if the place is too tight, Estevao will pass it back. But if the ball is with Estevao more than like, if they pass the ball like first, second, third, Estevao will want to move forward. He won't want to pass the ball backward again. That is the way 1v1 players think. But players that don't have 1v1 ability, once the defense is tight, the best thing that they can do is pass the ball backwards. But if the defender that is marking those set of players, for example, if the defender that is marking Neto or Garnacho overlap, that is when Garnacho and Neto will have a chance to drive forward and do some pullouts. But if the defender do close marking with Neto and Garnacho, then they are totally locked from that wing. That is why low block have been difficult for Chelsea. But if Estevao is there, even if you are the best defender in the world, that boy will stress you. You can see against Bournemouth, Estevao was just cooking that guy in that left back position. Semenyo had to step in and support the guy to mark Estevao. That is when Semenyo commits Estevao. Estevao commits Semenyo and Estevao won a penalty. That is the importance of 1v1 player. But Maresca have been making the lineup more complicated. Normally, personally for me, I was one of the Chelsea fans that doubted Estevao Williams. I was one of the victims that doubted Estevao Williams because I was looking at the boy's stature. Because normally for me, before I judge a player, I must first see their performance in the Premier League before I will rate them. Because the Premier League is tough. A lot of stars have come to the Premier League and failed. That is why I was saying that Estevao might not succeed at Chelsea. But when I started watching the boy in the FIFA Club World Cup, he was playing multiple wings and actually producing results. I was still not satisfied till when Estevao played against Chelsea. Even when he played against Chelsea, I just laughed that Cucurella is going to bully Estevao in that his right wing position. But to my surprise, Estevao Williams worried Cucurella and almost giving Levi Kowe an injury due to his aggressive marking. That boy is small. That boy is very small in stature, but he's like a beast. That's when sometimes Estevao Williams normally collect yellow card due to the way he marks his opponents sometimes. Even the goal Estevao score against Barcelona, Estevao Williams scored that same goal against Chelsea in the FIFA Club World Cup. Now, when Estevao Williams came to Chelsea, a lot of us still doubted that he might need some time to adapt. That means he might be a bench warmer for some time. But against Leverkusen, he showed some promises. But that is still not enough because you can't use preseason match or preseason performance to judge Premier League performance. Okay, fine. Estevao Williams started against Fulham. He almost ended Basi's career in that right wing position. If not that, what saved Basi is that Bassi have strength more than Esteval. If not, Esteval Williams would have messed Bassi up left and right in that match. Okay, now it shows a little promises. Even against West Ham, Esteval Williams registered his first assist. He was showing consistent promises to Enzo Maresca. But Maresca was still prioritizing Neto over Esteval. Okay, fine. We were patient with Maresca that maybe it's because of physicality. But against Liverpool, Esteval Williams came off the bench and scored the winning goal. That was still another proof to trust the boy. The next match, he was still on the bench. They start him against Ajax. Esteval Williams scored against Ajax. That was still another proof that you need to trust the boy. Okay, fine. You still bench him in important match in the Premier League. Fine. Against Quaback, despite the fact that we draw, Esteval Williams still scored against Quaback. That is another proof that this boy is fighting to the first 11. This boy is too big for the bench. Now, we're going to face Barcelona. You put Esteval. Esteval ended up scoring the second goal for Chelsea. This was a regular bench warmer at Chelsea. Now, that sealed it that as currently now, Esteval needs to be starting in important. In fact, Esteval is a big match player. He turns up in big matches. Now, Maresca have a little faith in Esteval after Barcelona game. Now, when we were playing Arsenal game, just because Esteval Williams was like throwing a lot of chances away, Maresca decides to like remove him from the first half. Okay, that is understandable. But after then, Esteval Williams have been on the bench. Normally, I know that Chelsea are buying a lot of reckless players. Personally, for me, if they sell Jimmy Gittins and Garnacho today, I won't even make Pem. In fact, I'll be happy because both of them are not helping their self at the moment in that left wing. But if you see a player like Esteval Williams is a what is like a second Kopama. One thing that you guys don't understand is that one of the things that make Palmer to succeed in Chelsea is game time. The game time that he didn't have in Man City, Chelsea gave him that game time in his first season. And what happened? Kopama scored 25 goals and 15 assists in his first season as Chelsea. If not that Erling Haaland is not a human being, if not that Erling Haaland is a beast, Kopama would have won Golden Boots that season. Just one season, just his first season at Chelsea, Kopama was already stepping to a world-class status just because of game time and freedom. If one thing that make Kopama dangerous in his first season is because Kopama doesn't have a one position that he plays. He plays in multiple positions. And no matter how good you are as a defender, you can't lock Kopama down. Again, under Pochettino, you can't. You can't lock Kopama down. But now, Esteva, that's why if some star players, if you want to bring out the best in some star players, it's through game time. But Maresca have, and one of the reasons why Maresca always sacrifice Esteva Williams for Neto is due to Enzo Maresca philosophy, in the sense that Enzo Maresca believes in physicality and build-up play. Because Esteva Williams can't do what Neto is doing. For example, if Chelsea is under pressure, Neto can run back and defend and start the build-up from there. But if Esteva Williams do that 2 to 3 times, Esteva Williams will get tired easily and he can't perform well. That have happened many times. That is why Enzo Maresca rates Neto more than Esteva Williams. Now let's talk about Josh Achampong now. All the only bad performance Josh Achampong have had this season was when they pair him with Tosi against Wolf. That was the only performance when Chelsea conceded 3 goals in the Carabao Cup. That was the only bad game Josh Achampong have had this season. But the rest game have been solid. You can't tell me as a Chelsea fan that you don't enjoy watching Josh Achampong in the defense. Forget that it doesn't have the power, but what Josh Achampong is doing in that defense, Tosi can never do it in his career. This is not a joking matter. But Maresca still rates Bandiashili and Tosi more than Josh Achampong. Now let's look at Cucurella. One of the reasons why the sporting director buy Joreato is not for Joreato to replace Cucurella. The sporting director don't want to sell Cucurella. The reason why they buy Joreato is that the pressure of Cucurella starting back to back can reduce because they know that Cucurella is good. Because if you can recall, I think early this season, early, let's just say early this season, Chelsea renewed Cucurella contract due to his performance. I think currently now Cucurella will be earning close to 200 plus per week. 200 plus, or let's just say between 200 to 200 plus per week. The reason why they brought Jurato is for Cucurella to be resting. But Enzo Maresca keep playing Cucurella back to back. And one of the reasons why Maresca prefer playing Cucurella back to back is because Jurato cannot convert the way Cucurella does, which is not necessary because as a left back, your work is to defend, but Cucurella play multiple wings and Maresca used that to his advantage. But at the same time, it comes with a high risk. Like previously, we almost lost Cucurella due to hamstring injury, but I was quite surprised that that guy was still ready to play. That is to show you how Chelsea is blessed with that kind of player. So that is why we need to protect him by reducing his game pressure. Yes, I know that the sporting directors are buying. Like one thing that the sporting director normally does wrong is like buying players recklessly. But you guys need to understand that the sporting directors answer to the owners. So any decision that the sporting director bring to the table, they must first inform the owners. Are you getting me, guys? They must first inform the owners. So let's just see how it goes. Because as for me, I don't even know how Chelsea's season is going to be from now on. I don't even know how we are going to face Manchester City because even if we put Rich James in that midfield, I don't think it will be enough. I don't think it will be enough. But I'm still positive. Like I said before, I'm not a Maresca fan. I'm not siding the sporting directors or the owners. I don't like their model because there are many players that Chelsea would have signed, like Michael Olise. Michael Olise was ready to come to Chelsea, but the owners didn't want to pay that huge amount of wages. Victor Osimhen was ready to come to Chelsea. Even Mikel and Didier Drogba advised Osimhen to come to Chelsea. The guy was ready to come, but Chelsea don't want to pay Osimhen that huge amount of money. So that is one of the aspects that gets me angry. Even Semenyo is a Chelsea fan. He would have come to Chelsea, but he was not pleased with the project. He was not pleased with the project. Now, Fortune King, you see this Tosi and Badiashile. One thing that I will have issue with is body that I told like if they don't sell their two by the end of this season, because there is some news that Chelsea are going for they might go for a centre back by the end of next season. Now, if they are going for a centre back by the end of next season, Tosi and Badiashile must leave. Normally, Badiashile is a little bit better than Tosi, but two of them are like brothers. So Two of them should just go. Two of them should just go. In fact, Badashili is an injury-prone player. Tosi is not reliable. So two of them should just go. There is no need for two of them should remain in that center back. Ehen. Maybe we might not even go for another center back because if we sell their two, if we sell Bandashili and Tosi, that will leave room for Josh Achampong and Levi Kowe. Forget that Fofana is one of our most injury-prone player, but we all know how Fofana have helped us this season. We all know how Fofana helped us this season, so we should keep Fofana so that the pressure of playing 2 to 3 match consistently might reduce. Any moment from now, Kowe will be back. But if Kowe is back, he might not still start immediately because we all know how injury is. If you recover newly, you might not start fully, and even if you start fully, you might not still be fit. So I think it might take Kowe next season to be fully fit, to be realistic. But personally, for me, what I want is for the board to sell Bandashili and Tosi so that Josh Ashipong can be free in that center back, so that Josh Ashipong can have more game time. Now you say that Chelsea maybe go for Rudiger. That Rudiger self, the way I'm looking at that guy in Madrid, that guy have made a lot of mistakes. Rudiger cannot handle pressure as we speak. I used to watch Madrid games, especially in the FIFA Club World Cup against PSG. Rudiger made many silly mistakes. I don't think he can do better at Chelsea. I don't think that. Even I prefer we should recall Asemino, but that guy, Asemino is still an injury-prone player. So I think for me, my own opinion, we shouldn't go for any centre back. We should just use Chaluba, Cowell, Fofana, and Josh Achampong. That is just my opinion. Because if we go for another centre back, Josh Achampong will still be a regular bench warmer. Are you seeing it now? Yes, Josh Achampong is good, but Maresca doesn't trust him. That is understandable and frustrating, especially for Chelsea fans, because that boy, you can't tell me you can't tell me as a Chelsea fan that if you are watching Josh Ashburn, you don't enjoy his game. Even against Bournemouth, that guy was just playing beautiful football. Where Josh Ashburn shocked me was against Crystal Palace. Normally, that in that match, we were just thinking that Meteta will just bully this boy up and down. Josh Ashburn still hold his ground. He still hold Meteta. Josh Ashburn didn't even look at his size. That's why even team like Madrid and Bayern Munich, for Bayern Munich, Real Madrid and Man City to be eyeing Josh Ashipon, you know that boy is like a second Rich James. It's like a second Rich James. So we shouldn't go for any centre back. Let's just develop Josh Ashipon. Let's give him more game time. Who knows, that boy can become a Chelsea legend in the future self. Yes, that's what I've been saying. For that to happen, that's why Maresca, for me, normally, if you guys have been following me for some time, normally I've been suggesting that Maresca should leave. That's why some Chelsea fans, majority of Chelsea fans are making their judgment due to sentiment and emotions. I know that Maresca have won trophy for Chelsea, but let's do some calculation. Since 2012, Chelsea have won 9 trophies under Abramovich. Chelsea have won 9 trophies. Conte won Premier League for Chelsea, I think 2016 to 17. Mourinho have won trophy for Chelsea. Ancelotti have won trophy for Chelsea. Even Thomas Tuchel have won Chelsea for trophy. I've won trophy for Chelsea. But those managers got sacked. That is how football is. That is how football is. PSG. Let's take PSG for example now. PSG have been dominating their league for more than decades now. But what they need is Champions League. That's why they have been sacking a lot of managers. That's why they have been sacking a lot of managers. So me personally, for me, look when I look Enzo Maresca, I just made the suggestion that for Estevan Williams, for players like Estevan Williams, Josh Ashipong, and Andre Santos to have more game time at Chelsea, Enzo Maresca needs to leave. But some Chelsea fans will just be making some unnecessary argument that Maresca should stay, that the sport director should give Maresca what he wants. Now, if the sport director agreed to Maresca terms to bring in experienced players, that means Andre Santos will leave the club, Estevan Williams will leave the club, Josh Achampong will leave the club. That is how it's going to be. But the other way around, for those young players to have more game time, for those young players to have more game time, Enzo Maresca must leave. Then the spoil that the owners will bring in another manager, not just any manager that will work with those young players. That is the realistic. That is a realistic episode. Now you can clearly see today that Enzo Maresca just left Chelsea today. Now, normal now, normal. After the Bonamo game, as Caicedo just collect that yellow card, I was just laughing because that Man City game, let me who is even going to hold Haaland in our midfield? Who is going to hold Haaland? Haaland have more speed than Rich James. He have more as in the I'm not even afraid of Man City player. You see that in Haaland, that guy, I'm scared of that guy. I'm scared of that guy because I wish Moses Caicedo is in that midfield now. I would have said Moses Caicedo would have managed to hold Erling Haaland. But this one that Moses Caicedo is not available, man. If we draw that match, I'm not being negative, but due to Chelsea's form and inconsistency, you can clearly see that Man City are in form now. Due to Chelsea inconsistency and Man City consistency, if we draw that match, we are going to thank God. If we draw that match, we are going to thank God. And for me, I won't want a new manager to just come and take charge of that match. Because if a new manager come and take charge of that match, I'm not sure that we are going to even play any better. But if this our extreme manager, this guy, if I think his name is Cabarro, something like that. If he take charge, I think we might try a little bit. But you see that midfield, Man City, they are going to run riots in that midfield. We are going to If we draw, it's not bad. It's not bad to draw because currently now, if we draw Man City, is even a win to us at this moment. It's even a win. If we draw Man City, it's a win. Eh, Because for now, you see that Caicedo. Caicedo means a lot to Chelsea. Oh. Caicedo is our pillar. So if Caicedo is not available, it go hard. No man, now Chelsea is not in form. Normally, we are in form, but as Maresca have been making things complicated for Chelsea. We have been informed, but he have been making things complicated for Chelsea. He have making things complicated. It's like normally Enzo Maresca, if you do your research, what Leicester fans says about Maresca is exactly what is happening at Chelsea right now. Now, what the Leicester fans they say that Enzo Maresca is a coach that is based on possession, and his football can be boring. And during the end of the season or some important match, Enzo Maresca normally lose those matches. Some Leicester fans were even relieved that Maresca left, but were still most of them were still like with Maresca that they believe in him that he will do better. That is it. Enzo Maresca football sometimes is kind of boring because like last season now, one of the things that got me angry about Enzo Maresca last season was about Joao Felix. A lot of people won't believe this, but Joao Felix would have succeeded in Chelsea Because if you take a look at Joao Felix's first season as a Chelsea player, Joao Felix was on fire. The only thing is that Joao Felix was missing a lot of chances, but that guy he just comes to the Premier League once and started playing. In fact, that first season, Joao Felix didn't have a single position. He was playing left, right, 10, even false nine. But Enzo Maresca stated that he sees Joao Felix as a number 10. That is one of the statements that normally gets me angry with Maresca. He says he sees Joao Felix as a number 10 in the sense that Kopama and Joao Felix cannot play one match. He says that Joao Felix cannot play the same match with Kopama. But Joao Felix that we know can play multiple positions. That ends Joao Felix leaving. Even this season, he still made the same statement that he sees Esteban Williams as a number 10. They even asked him, why are you not putting Josh in your match? He says that he sees Josh Ashipong as a midfielder. He sees him like who can play better in the number 6 position. Mm-hmm. He normally make rubbish subs now, even against Aston Villa. That match was absolutely heartbreaking. In fact, Aston Villa was like, they were like babies in that first half. In first half against Aston Villa only registered 29% in possession. Chelsea dominated Aston Villa throughout. But when Aston Villa coach started making changes, that is why I know that Chelsea are not going to win this match. Because there's a way you observe a match, you see this situation, your mind will just see that Chelsea might not win this match. Because you just bring 3 sub once. There's a way a manager will make some kind of sub. You know that this manager is really looking for a win. But Maresca that day, Maresca was just like doing experiments. Why did he even do that himself? He removed Kopama. I think he played. I think Jamie Gittins came on in that match. But in that match, Garnacho was actually wasteful. He did rubbish sub. And at the end, we lost the match. Maresca's decision making sometimes normally cost Chelsea results. Now you see that Chelsea sacked Maresca is because he has been watching Man City match, so he divided his attention. I said that earlier now that Maresca changed his agent. He changed his agent, I think early this month or late November. He changed his agent because he was already having doubts about the Chelsea job. He was already having doubts. That is the same thing that I've been saying since now. Maresca don't want to make use of young talent. He is not the way he is. He's not convinced with. That's why no matter how Esteban Williams perform, Maresca will never be pleased. Even against Bournemouth, he still sacrificed Esteban Williams so that Neto can play at the right wing. So all this wrong sub, late sub, wrong starting 11, Maresca is indirectly telling the sporting director to come and sack him because Maresca is trying to demand authority in the squad. He's sending a message to the board that they should take this player away and bring experienced players. So this sacking is not only from the sporting director, it's from Maresca himself. It's from Maresca because we have been observed. Let's be sincere, majority of our players' inconsistency have been too much. One of our players that his inconsistency need to be studied is Enzo Fernandez. As in that guy, Enzo Fernandez. Enzo Fernandez have been one of our useless players this season. Okay, Enzo Fernandez is not playing well as a number 10. Even currently now, if you observe, Moises Caicedo have dropped form this season. Let's not lie. Caicedo have been dropping form. He have been committing a lot of unnecessary foul and receiving yellow cards. Sometimes Moses Caicedo will be invisible in that midfield because there is no other person that can help him. on the pitch. But a lot of people will still say that we don't have a sub. What about Andre Santos? What about Andre Santos? Okay, now we don't have besides Kopama. Kopama is our best number 10. He's our best number 10. Okay, fine. If Kopama is not fit, what about Bononate? What happened to Bononate? Let's be sincere, Joao Pedro this season have been our worst number 9 and number 10. Forget the fact that he scored goals, but that guy, Joao Pedro, that guy have spoiled so many chances and killed so many attacking spirits when we are holding the ball. If Joao Pedro, if Joao Pedro hold the ball, if that guy doesn't dribble the full stadium, that guy mind will not come down. For me, Joao Pedro need to sit on the bench for like 5 match so that he will learn and see how other player plays. For me, I rate Bononati more than Joao Pedro in that number 10. And one of the reasons why Bononati performance was even poor is because that guy have been having limited game time. So let's just hope for the best for Chelsea. Let's hope for the best. Me, I've been laughing since morning that we are just entering New Year. Chelsea are entering the New Year with sacking. More Chelsea can't seems to amaze me. Every time, surprise, surprise, surprise. Well, next, let's just say, when in terms of transfer window now, Chelsea are not going to sign any player this January. They are going to manage the one that they have. Then next season, Giovanni Quenda is coming to Chelsea. That guy can play left and right wing. He's a 1v1 player. That guy is like Jeremy Duko type of player. But for me, what I'm thinking is that Chelsea might sell Neto next season because due to UEFA rules, they stated that we must sell players from our first 11 before we can sign any other player. Mhm. Then as for Dilap and Joao Pedro, seriously, they are not doing Chelsea. If their poor performance is not harming Chelsea, you know why it's not harming Chelsea? Because if they continue this their poor performance, even Garnacho and Jimmy Gittins, if they continue their poor performance, they will get sold. One thing that I love about this Chelsea is that if a player is not performing well, they can be they can be sold easily. You can see the way we did Noni Madueke. So Garnacho will even be more easier to sell because he's receiving 47k pounds per week. Your salary is small. So if they put 20 million price tag on your head, any club will just come, except you are the one that want to kill your career by yourself, like Raheem Sterling or Jadon Sancho. You will sit on the reserve team. So I'm not quite bothered about Jamie Gittins or Delap or the rest because we are still going to be buying players. And one thing about this Chelsea is that we don't rely on we are not that too patient with inconsistent performance. If they bring you to Chelsea, if you cannot perform well for 2 seasons, then you will get out. That is it. That is Chelsea. So once again, happy new year to you guys. This year, this year is going to be more favor for us, especially for Chelsea. So let's hope for the best. So that whether the sport director do this or not, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't stop supporting Chelsea. Whether we lose, whether we remove from the Champions League, we are still a Chelsea fans. So the hard time is when we need to show our love as we are a Chelsea fans. So let's hope for the best against Man City, which is on Sunday. So just a reminder, before Man City match, I'll still come on live because currently now I'll be coming live almost frequently. My last live was after Bournemouth match. So I still came. The reason why I even came live today is because of the sacking of Enzo Maresca, which is very shocking. But I think on Saturday or tomorrow, I'll still be on live. So, guys, thanks for the thanks for the your comments and contribution. It means a lot to me. So, you guys, it's like una no one let me come on for live today. And the guy is not better than Duco, but he's showing promises like Esteval. He's not better than Duco, but he's showing promises like Esteval. The guy is at Sporting. He's at Sporting. We brought him. I think this last transfer window. That's when we buy the guy with Isugo the same time at Sporting. So the guy will learn sharp, but I'm using Jeremy Duco's eye to look the guy. Then this the way Esteva Williams Mora is. That is the same eye I'm looking Giovanni Quenda. No, we have not gone out of the Champions League yet, but our next two match, which is Paus and Napoli, is this same January. That's why this January is going to be very hot for Chelsea because we have 9 match. Our last two Champions League match we are going to play this January. We are going to play our first FA Cup match this January, and we are going to play Arsenal in the Carabao Cup competition this January. So this January is going to be hot for Chelsea. I swear, very hot. Now only God go save us this January. I swear. Okay, for you. Okay, for you, Duko is not good. Everybody with their own opinion. Your opinion is valid because people we see things differently. But you should, for me, my advice to you, calm down and like watch the way Duko plays. One thing that I rate Duko, that guy 1v1 ability. That is why I love Duko. I always love 1v1 players because they make things more easy for their team. They make things more easy for their team. So guys, see you next time on my live. Much appreciated. I appreciate you guys. Fortune K, Maria Innocent, and the rest. Thank you for your contribution and opinion. It means a lot to me. Right. I'll still be posting more YouTube shorts. So guys, make sure to stay updated on the latest Chelsea news, and not every rumor you should believe. Like for me, I normally if I see a lot of rumors, I normally wait for Fabrizio to post it before I can believe. So that is why I advise you guys, not every Chelsea rumor news you should believe. So see you guys in my next live. And once again, happy new year and happy celebration.